It's the email too.
I just got in.
Yep. I heard just he's not going to be here.
Okay. Fair enough.
So, I guess we'll fire up the working session at 6:05 p.m. and we'll. So, anyone else from Citizens Forum want to say anything? Okay. Moving right along, we'll go into the board committees, school forest.
I think the main focus was just discussing the Bears in the Bog field trip that we had. It was kind of the gist of it, which I think was fun and successful, so.
We had a discussion about it before this group came in, but it sounded like that. Good effort.
Yeah.
People were happy. You got fifth graders who interacted with something you said. That was pretty good effort.
Played a game.
You got a second grade teacher who got in the best shape of her life, right? Okay. Climbed the tower twice. I want that on public record.
Well, high school teacher.
Or high school,
Chaperone.
Yeah.
State chaperone.
And
for their children. That's what
I
it
have to say kudos to Bobby Joe for all her work on it, and then just the number of volunteers, that was spectacular that day, well, both days. So it was pretty awesome. Parents and people in the community, so it's good, very nice.
And we'll go with buildings and grounds. We talked to Dale and Kyle about a lot.
This is kind of a
You got Dale sitting back there too. He can lead
About
it.
Dale, what did we talk about again?
just kind of trying to transition into summer. Well,
I remember being there, but.
I could pull my agenda out, I
it
suppose.
wasn't, I can do that.
Yeah, I don't.
We talked a little bit about summer scheduling.
Prospects of summer help,
Right.
looking at a summer position. that I'll talk about.
Look at the MOU for their wages.
And yeah, the seasonal summer help.
Right.
Yep. And that's something that Jeff will talk about.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we didn't do a roof tour.
We did not go up on the roof.
To Claire.
Not yet, Lynn?
Nope, I'm not going, but
Was that April 25th?
it was May 8th or 9th.
May
May 9th.
So just staffing issues.
Yeah.
With some changes with staff assignments and retirement. We're down about 2.5 staff for the summer. We're increasing, and that's something I'll talk about in my report too, increasing a part-time person to full-time, and we're advertising for a part-time seasonal summer position. And we reviewed the summer projects list. Kyle's been working to assign people to stuff. We talked a little bit about summer weekend hours. We have an art guild request for 3 days. That's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I think we have that cleared. But that's something that we talked more today was setting our building hours and getting it posted. And so I'll be meeting with Sam and coming up with what days we can and cannot be open.
I don't know if it matters too much, but I think we have building hours on the door. Please, main door coming in, so if
Old sign from
Yeah.
1990.
those deviate from what
Yeah,
we're actually
we
doing,
need to-
we
yeah.
want to take it off.
Because we've been kind of closed on Sundays. I anticipate with staffing that'll continue. But we'll have a recommendation for June. Right now we're following what we did last year, which was basically 7 to 9.
Yeah, that's
Is that what it was last summer, 7 to 9?
Yeah. All activities, planned activities should be done by 8, 9 o'clock at night now.
Yeah, that's the But I mean, I think we advertise the building is open from 8 to 4 for the public. And then if we have activities like adult basketball on Wednesday, they are done, they go at 6 and we're done at, 7:30 or 8. So we don't have many activities that go beyond 7 o'clock. And I usually try and pack it in earlier so that if people want to leave, we're not extending those hours.
So I think we're planning on 2 custodial evening
Yeah,
people
we
this
got
summer.
2 people that like to work nights, so
Yep.
they'll be here. But it's nice to be able to, at one point in time, close the doors down and be done with it.
Is the added summer help ad, is that for, I assume outdoor stuff like cutting grass and,
That'll be everything this year.
Bus cleaning,
I mean, is it appropriate for a high school age
Yep.
kid or no?
Yeah.
I know where she lives.
so yeah, we're trying to, if we can find a high schooler that can drive
For the summer
for
position.
the summer, yeah.
Okay. That was one of my questions, because I
So, yeah, I posted it on the bulletin board there in the office, so it's on the website.
great.
I'll probably send an all school email maybe. That'd be a
Yeah.
way to get it.
Students and staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good call. Do that before Friday, so people are still checking their
Make
email.
sure you get the email either tonight or in the morning.
I guess we'll just segue right into the superintendent's
Okay.
report.
Thanks, Joe.
Enrollment report is in the board packet. We're down 4 from last month in the elementary, and we're up 2 from last month in the high school. So overall, we're down 2 students from the end of April. In your board packet, we have a couple staffing actions. One is a resolution for unrequested leave of absence. We did the proposal for last month, and the person has up to 14 days to request a hearing. If not, then we move forward with actually putting them on unrequested leave. That'll be happening tonight. We have a non-renewal of a teaching person. That will be a resolution. And then we have 2 paraprofessionals that will be non-renewed for next year. And that's part of our budget reductions for next fiscal year. You also have a school nurse contract to approve, and the red line's in the board packet. And basically, it's the same salary and insurance increase that the other groups got as well. We did talk about the summer custodial grounds position. We'll get that emailed out to all the staff and students tomorrow. It's on our Facebook and website as well.
Lisa's working on a Facebook post, but it's on the website.
Okay. And that will cover, with like Dawn Olson, for example, would work a full shift in the summer. She's retiring, so it's going to kind of fill that gap. Also, John Botko, when he went to the transportation supervisor, there's part of his custodial duties that we need to pick up. And Heather Northrup, who's been part-time, will move up to a full-time position starting this summer and into next year. So we're almost fully staffed with custodial. We're still have a few gaps, but I think we have enough to get through the summer and the start of the next year. Review and comment update. I sent out some information in my board write-up. The review and comment is more generalized, and basically all you have to do tonight is to authorize the superintendent, which is me, to just submit all the required information for review and comment. We've talked about $3.5 million in facility projects and $400,000 for capital projects levy. Technically, we could do a review and comment on all $7 million worth of projects. That's something I'll be working out with Seth, but we've kind of went through and took some projects off, like the playground equipment. We're looking at other ways to fund that. Anything that with the pool would go under the pool levy. Doesn't make sense to include that. We've talked about the track, and we have some concerns about the track and the facilities. So I'm recommending that we do kind of look at a $5 million building bond project. That would include those projects we've already said these are very important, like the roof, the tuck pointing, the flooring, some of those high needs, the windows. But it's not gonna, at this point, we don't have to confine ourselves to exactly what we're thinking we're gonna go to. The same thing with the projects levy, we might look at other capital projects to fund through that as well. What we want to do is make sure we meet the deadline for the review and comment, but give ourselves enough wiggle room so that when we get more information from the community, you can make decisions based on what stakeholders are saying they feel is a priority. And they might come back and say, replacing the track is important as a community. That might be something we might want to include in this bond, the building bond. So basically tonight is just the initial step to get the review and comment sent off to the Commissioner of Ed. Which leads
Before
in...
you step past that, so you're comfortable with us just saying yes, but the actual writing of the review and comment?
That is something that I do with Seth.
Okay.
And that doesn't have to be done until August, right?
No,
Like
that's
official
gotta be done in June here.
in June. Oh,
Yep.
okay.
The review and comment
The
is
review and comment.
Okay.
So,
But they have an idea of how to present it, is my
Yes.
point, you know?
Yes.
I mean, they know what we want,
Yep.
obviously, all right.
Yep. So what I am saying is my recommendation is the review and comment is gonna be around $5 million for a building bond. If we feel that that's gonna provide enough dollars for what projects we feel we must have, as well as if there's other things that the community, you might come back and say we're going 4 million or 3.5 million based on survey results and what you feel the community will take on as far as tax burden.
We just cannot increase, right?
No,
Okay.
no.
So ask for the 5 and adjust accordingly is the line.
Yep.
Okay.
Are we comfortable with roughly around 5 million?
Yes, I was concerned at one point that we were actually undercutting it, I think, when you were pointing that out a couple times, but I think the ask needs to be legitimate, not just, get us through the next 9 years or whatever it is.
Okay. And I'll be working with Sheena too to just finite some of the IT expenses and transportation expenses that would be in the capital projects and what that final dollar amount. So we've had public meetings, we've streamed it, we've been very transparent on the dollar amounts that we're thinking and tossing around. Tonight, we're not getting held down to any specific dollar amount. It's going to be around 5 million for the building bond and 400,000 to 500,000 on the capital projects. Those dollars may change by the time we actually start formulating ballot questions. But we can't go over that. We're going to have to stay within that confines. And, which leads into my next, I met on Friday with the Donovan group, and they're working on a draft survey for the public with some input. And as soon as I get that in the next day or two, I'll share that out with the board. But they're looking to include questions to get information from the community not just on the building bond and the capital projects, but also some questions on the operating levy. And I believe the questions will have some information on this is what we're collecting right now for an operating levy and getting input on whether they would support increasing that. So we're looking to send that out to the public June 10th to the 30th is the timeline we're looking at. Not the best time. If I could roll the clock back a couple months, it would have been better. But it's just the way it is right now. But we'll get it out. I'm looking at how we'll get the information out. I wrote down radio. They've been very good on putting information when we have our working sessions. We can get something to the radio so the community knows that survey's out there. Putting it in the newspaper, of course our school website, social media, cable, Showbirds would be another spot. The trading post goes out weekly beyond our district, but that might be, there's some cost to that, so we'll have to look at that. And then I also talked to Donovan, we also talked about postcard, doing a postcard rather than to make sure that a mailing goes out. And we'll have to take a look at the cost. There's pros and cons to that as well. And then I also wrote down the Ed Plus, but we're doing the Ed Plus a little different to save mailing. So that might be a...
And we might, I think the hope is that we would replace the Ed Plus, or we would continue it, but in a little bit of a different format, so it's not less expensive.
So we've already done this summer.
Yeah.
Information's already been
Right.
collected, so.
We do our district newsletter as an insert into the trading post, and they can limit it to like mailboxes in Lake of the Woods County.
Oh, really? Okay.
We do get a little bit of the edge because of it's based on mail routes, but I think it's like $210 for us to do our newsletter as an insert. It's very simple.
The Northern Light region also has a certain number of papers, and this is how we were running the Ed Plus prior to taking a break this spring, but certain number of papers per year that are kind of publicity papers for them, where they say, hey, you should get a subscription, so they send it to everybody in the county. And that's what we included the Ed Plus on. But maybe we decide, we ask to piggyback on that version of the Northern Light region with an insert like you're talking about at the trading post. So it would go to everybody. We'd have to pay for printing, obviously.
If they do it in early June.
If they do it in early June,
I mean,
right.
our timeline is
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
20 days. So we're going to really hit it hard and try to get, I can't remember what percentage of return based on your population. I want to say ideally if you could get 60 to 70% surveys returned. You have really good, you have really strong data. But that might be...
What do they win? What's the prize if you turn one?
I don't know,
I
but
gotta find a prize.
maybe, I'll see if I can get a deal on turkeys. Brother-in-law is in the turkey business.
Can we put them out like local businesses for people?
That's a good question. I would
Bring them
assume
to
for
email.
sure addresses,
Type of thing? We can do that, yeah.
but that's an assumption.
I don't think so. They talk to them,
I'll note it as such.
So,
I feel like I know.
but we're gonna try to get the word out.
Yeah.
The actual survey will be electronic, we'll be available
Or even send them an email.
to people. So that's June 10th through the 30th, is to gather that information. I'll work with the Donovan group to determine if we need to have a special working session in July for the board to get a presentation on that. I do meet weekly with them. We haven't set this week's, so I do meet weekly with the Donovan group. So I'll be continuing to share information out from them. But we might have to work in a working session in July, and we do have that August deadline for board action to move forward with the referendum and set the election questions. So Any questions on any of that? Workplace survey, Jill went through that at our last month meeting. I did meet with the supervisor cabinet team today. We'll be looking at probably next fall, sometime in August, to get the district cabinet committee together. And that's the group that met, that put the survey together. And that has school board members on it. It has representation from all the unions. Pretty much every aspect of the employees within the district that will meet and come up with what do we do with the data, what's our next steps. You know, do we do more surveys? Are there questions that were raised from the survey that we wanted to dive into deeper information? But I think it has to be all staff involved with what they feel should be next steps, whether it's trainings or
And you said
cookouts or
August, we're thinking about that?
sometime in August would be ideal. Towards the end is when we have workshop. It's hard to get everyone in for meetings in June and July. So probably towards the end of August. So I think anything you do with climate is an ongoing thing. This isn't a quick, oh, here's the problem, here's the solution, implement it. It's an ongoing thing. Any questions with that? School Finance Summer Workshop is in your packet. I would encourage, if you have an interest in school finance, digging into the weeds. This is a good workshop done by Bruce Jensen. You have the information. If anyone does attend it, I'll attend it with you, because it always is good for me to get it in there extra time. But it is a little bit of a commitment, but it's a deeper level of school finance. So if you look at the dates, if that's something that you're interested in, let me know, or Jill, and we'll get you signed up. Any questions on that?
Maybe it says here, but where is Northwest Sioux?
It's in Thief River.
In Thief River, okay.
Yeah. So it's basically three all-day sessions, and then the September 19th, that's a half day, and that's where in September when we do the levy certification, that half day you go right into the thick 300 and some page actual levy sheets for the district, and he goes through with a fine-tooth comb, and this is where you can find the different revenue streams and locations for our district. So it's probably Bruce will tell you, and he'll tell you if you show up for the first day, that he'll point out the school board members and says, well, last year we had this many school board members show up and none of them came back to the second day. So
No.
it's deep diving, but it's good stuff. And if you're interested in it, it's worth your time, in my opinion. I will be taking some vacation days next week. So I'll be out of the building all of next week, if you're okay with that. A few kudos and celebrations. End of the year is crazy. Just ask Miss Merchant and any of the classroom teachers in here, or custodians, or office staff, or an activities director. Everything piles up at the end of the year. It's very busy, very crazy, but it's very good. So I need to take some time to thank Miss Merchant and all of the staff for all of those extra things that we do at the end of the year. and some of this Mary will speak to, so I won't go too in depth, but we had mental health awareness. If you've been in the building, I think it's still out there by the doors when you walk in. That was a week-long thing. We have prom, we have Minnesota Honor Society, we had the scholarship awards last week, we had athletic awards this morning, we have graduation on Friday. So there's lots of things that people are doing to make the end of the year good for the kids. So just thanks for all of the effort that they put out. We also had Teacher Appreciation Week, and kudos to Jill, who organized everything. I know Lisa had put in Facebook all the other organizations, like the New Moon Coffee House, Eatery, K-Salon, Border Bank, Rainy River Refrigeration, Riverwood Bank, all provided snacks and stuff and coffee, which is appreciated. Lake of the Woods Brewing Company even provided root beer for, I think it was just the elementary staff meeting, so they must have had it in there.
It was wonderful.
It sounds good. Yes. And Badet Lutheran Parish provided New Moon treats. Diane Slick, I hope I don't get in trouble, and Lynn Ellis provided cookies in each staff lounge. So, and I probably missed something or someone, but my point is how the community came in and is supporting our teachers, and they value the work that those people do and express it that way. So thanks for their support, and thanks to Lisa Olson for putting this on Facebook, and for Jill to text it to me, because I don't have Facebook on my phone, so I needed the information. So thanks so much for all of that. Another celebration, I know we were talking about the Big Bog. That's a huge undertaking. If you're on the school forest committee or volunteered, you know how much work that is. Bobby Joe Castle does a lot of work with that, Andy Pearson, Corinne, along with lots of local volunteers to make that work so well for our kids. And I will have more kudos and celebrations at our June meeting, so I haven't hit all of them yet. So, any questions?
All right, moving right along.
Good evening. To echo a little bit of Jeff with the Mental Health Awareness Month, resources were provided by the Hunter J. Nordloff Be Kind Foundation for students in grades 4 through 12, and they were green folders, envelopes that went home with resources in there for parents. And then each teacher received a 3-ring binder with resources in. And since how crazy it is in May, our intentions are with those 3-ring binders is to take the purposeful time when we have our August workshop to go through those with the staff and how we can utilize those and use those as a support for our students. And then a couple months ago we applied for a grant, which we did not get. It would have been to get calming kits and corners for the classrooms. Well, Mrs. Beckel has been extremely busy reaching out on a more local level for funding, and right now I believe we have enough to do. I think it's like 12 or 13. We're going to start with the elementary and work ourselves up to high school. So she has started to do some purchasing for that, and those will be something too we'll bring to our August workshops to incorporate. Prom, which was moved to the auditorium, was very well received, and the good news was we had 150 empty seats in the auditorium. So meaning there was plenty of room for everybody, and anybody wanted to come, and we didn't have to have anybody sitting out in the commons area. So definitely made for a very nice, elegant, intimate setting for the kids. Last week, Mrs. Beckel and I attended a training. It's called High high in plain sight. And if you Google Tall Cop, it's a police officer. His name is Jermaine Galloway, and he puts these on throughout the country. He's a national speaker now, and it was very informative, insightful, and Mrs. Becken and I will be, we already got August workshop days filled. We'll be bringing this information to share with teachers, and he shared drug trends and really the alarmingness of what would be referred to as legal drugs. So when things you think about going into Dollar General or Walmart and buying, and what people are using literally to get high off. Or when you take a combination between things and put them together. That I'm going to call it damage, the damage it'll do. So that was very informative for us. On a fun note, our 6th grade planted trees around school property. So, and this year's focus was around by the football area. Mrs. Hayes has had her baby, so congratulations to the Hayes family. And Tina Lorette, who I was going to have come in as her long-term sub this fall, started for her, and Shannon and Tina were in communications before Tina needed to take her leave, so it was very smooth transition for the students with Mrs. Lorette coming in. Summer school we have scheduled, elementary, which is going to be lots of fun with a carousel of fun being the focus, and I think it's terrific that one afternoon they're going to get to go to the county fair. And then high school focus with summer school is credit recovery. It'll take place the same time, June 3rd to the 14th, and Jackie is going to have breakfast and lunch to serve for all the kids, and John Botko is working on transportation for us. We have course registration completed. I just need to meet with our 5th graders yet, and when I meet with them, we do a Q&A session with them. So they come prepared with asking me questions about differences in the high school, and then for their registration, it's really if they're going to be in band or not, because they still will have music. On a side note, Mr. Sather has set up with his Phi-Ed classes disc golf out in our field area. He is preparing cards, so if there's anybody who wants to go and play and use a card to keep score on, you can contact Mr. Sather for that. And I just have to give a super huge kudos to teachers, paras. I'm even pulling Jill in on Thursday to help sub, because it has been wonderful with all the sports and activities going on, but with people needing to take off work for whatever reason, or because they're also coaches, we have been very short-handed at times, to the point where I have teachers taking 2 classes at a time to help fill in. And then music and Phi-Ed teachers, instead of those 25 minutes, they're extending it to like 40 minutes for the kids to help out. So it has been great getting through May with how willingly everybody is to say yes when I'm literally on my knees begging them, but no, they say yes without hesitation. It's just been fantastic. And then Mr. Nelson mentioned the NHS induction and scholarship awards. I just need to echo on, if you don't know, it was over $53,000 that our seniors received last week. So that equated to like minimum $2,000 a student. So absolutely amazing what our students get from the people in this community and the support they get from all the businesses. And that is all I have. Any questions?
How do they handle 2 classes at the same time? How does that work?
Well, one of the nice things is, for example, our 3rd graders, when you combine them, there's only 23 students. So that helps a lot. So, and Mr. Pearson and Mrs. Nordloff do a lot of working together as far as where they are in their curriculum. And so they just take them all for reading and math and everything, so.
And then, speaking of the academic side, how many high school credit recovery people will show up to that summer school, just for a round number? I mean, do a lot of kids buy into that or? take
Oh,
it?
definitely. Like if they need to do credit recovery, they definitely will come to summer school as opposed to having to have a 10th grader placed in a 9th grade class with 9th graders. So they are very good about coming and taking care of business, to the point that I'm going to say, probably in April already, a couple kids who knew first semester they had failed some classes came and asked me if they could start on that Acellus class already. So even though sometimes they let things slide and they're going to have to take care of making up that credit, they still took the initiative to be on top of it, to get ahead of the game with summer school.
For summer school, are students going to be allowed to work on classes ahead of time during Acellus? Because some students were talking about that, being able to work ahead.
Some have met with me individually. Yep.
Is that a resource for them in summer school to be able to work on Acellus ahead?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
And I don't know if Julissa was referring to it or not, but we have some students, because when they're looking and plotting out their classes, they want to be able to take, for example, the math college credit classes we have, and that is the reason a couple of the kids came to me, so that they could either do the Algebra 2 or geometry during summertime.
So sometimes it's negligence, sometimes it's a desire to get ahead.
Absolutely. Yep, and another one that's common for them to ask me about ahead of time is working on a foreign language. Yeah, it's
Not just the fear of being with 9th graders.
exactly. It's good on both ends.
Mary, I have a question, kind of different topic, but you have course registration on here, and during some of our public sessions, we've had a lot of questions come up about number of students in a course, and is that something we could look at as board members, or I don't know?
Absolutely.
Or just have a discussion around that and.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I think the one night one of them came up, I was listening to the meeting from home, and it had something to do with numbers and size. And here's one of the problems and difficulties that happen sometimes. So for example, one of our very low numbers of classes is our college math class. Well, when we do registration in the spring, I look at numbers, and with a class like that, as much as we'll have low numbers and say, yep, we're going to maintain this, I wouldn't want it to be less than 5 kids by any means. And I think when we registered last spring, it was like 5, 6 kids. Well, what happens is kids change their mind. I think in the fall we started out with 4 or 5 kids, but then after first semester we had kids who decided they didn't want to continue with it second semester, and so for that math class, that's what put it down to 2 or 3 kids. So that's a unique situation. There was I'll use science, and I can't remember, it might have been environmental science, and first semester there weren't very many kids in there, so I visited with Miss Bordelon and we changed it to a real life science class, and our numbers are, it's at least 15 kids in there. So when things like that happen and I can see ahead of time, yeah, teachers are willing to work with me and change elective classes where the kids' interest is. But yeah, absolutely. What will happen now is when Diane rolls everything over into Synergy, June's my really busy month to make sure we get all the registrations in, because even though we have the kids do it online, we need to make sure they really get 7 classes in there or 7 periods and how that falls. So I'm going to say sometime in July we'd have solid numbers to share with you. Anything else? Okay.
Thank you. And that brings us to the business office. Sheila, you're up.
Okay, I am doing the monthly budget report first. Our year total revenues are as follows. State revenue is 71% received. Federal revenues, 103% received. Property taxes, 49% received. Local revenues are 150% received. Food service, 88% received. Community education, 16% received. And all funds are 61.5% received at $5,742,260. For our grants for 2024, Title 401, I just completed our Q3 draw based on expenses incurred. Our remaining balance is $38,519.05. We did receive additional funding in title revenue this year. We submitted an additional application, so that's actually really nice. Just because normally the state doesn't provide enough funding to even cover all of your title expenses, so it'll help close the gap a little bit. All other grants were drawn and spent. Our expenditures for the year, salaries and wages are 75% expended. Employee benefits are 70% expended. Purchase services, 107% expended. Supplies, 77% expended. Equipment, 91% expended. Food service, 96% expended. Community ed, 70% expended. Total funds are 77% expended at $7,261,213. Our spending variance through April is a deficit of $1,518,953. And in the month of March, we actually had more revenues than expenditures of $20,208.87. Right now, our state and county revenue is running behind, more so than what you would normally see in the year, but our pool levy dollars will come from the county, and it's significantly more than last year. So we're going to receive over $200,000 more than the prior year from the county. So in the month of May and April, we'll receive fairly large payments from Lake of the Woods County. And then also the state aid payments we normally receive. And then we have the 10% of delayed revenue that will come in later, closer to the fall. And we'll calculate that during the summer once all student data has been reported. But we are running on track. Currently, right now, we are sitting at our expenditures, we're sitting on track with expenditures and revenues throughout the year at this point. Revenue is a little behind, but overall we're still sitting fairly on track. I did revise the budget. I went through just because we have some things running a little bit long or behind. Oh, I must have forgot to bring the packets. I'm sorry. Yep.
Or do you have that? You've got it.
Yeah, so this is the,
You stole mine. It's okay.
this is the short packet I'm going over. So at the beginning of the school year, in June, we presented the revised budget. Was not part of the packet. I just went through and tweaked a few things just to better gauge what we should be at. Again, coming up once all contracts were completed and posted, and then we had some MOUs and some different things. But the board had approved the budget in June, and then we revised it again in February. That budget showed a deficit of $44,000. I revised the budget, and now I show a deficit of $77,752. So I'm going to go over a few different things that I adjusted. We have an increase of expenses for some board consulting fees, and then overall consulting and advertising for the entire school. That we had initially budget $135,000, and now I bumped that up to $185,000. We found that our consulting advertising fees has gone up significantly every year, but that's a really large pot where we just code a lot of things to. At the end of the year, we have, fees with WIDSEF and just referendum planning too that we knew about, we knew would happen, so that we absolutely had to do. So they are coded to consulting and advertising. We had some changes with some MOUs that came up. Different staff are taking on additional duties. So we had that factored in with custodians. This custodian wages down for the most part just due to staffing changes. Transportation also slightly down for health insurance, but the salaries are up slightly. So there's some areas where our health insurance are down just to employees dropping mid-year or leaving the school mid-year, and then in some areas it's up. So we initially budget like 5% for health insurance, and we ended up going just slightly over 10%. So we're going to see a little bit of a difference there, but as of now our health insurance is actually running below budget, so that's a good thing. Online college in the high school is up significantly than what was budgeted for this year and compared to prior years. So just looking, we're just assuming we just have very good enrollment in online college in the high school.
And I will say this year was an exception because of our high flyers. I do not have near as many that I'm registering for next year.
Overall, it's a great program. It does, in aspects, save the district money, and then providing students an education here that you don't want them to leave and obtain somewhere else. But we've noticed that was up a little bit, much more than we projected. So it's actually $50,000 higher than last year, but it's still an amazing thing to offer the students. I went through and adjusted some para non-certified staff wages that were up a little bit based on what was initially budgeted. And then also some decreased expenses were work comp will be $5,000 under what was budgeted. Office supplies between the high school and district office will be down over $1,000. And we'll be moving a lot of expenses that were coded to equipment. We'll be moving those to capital to bring down our capital fund balance. So just shifting those expenditures will actually lower the expenditures in the budget overall and then bring up our unassigned fund balance. So those are different things that will help us. Sub-teacher wages were actually down about $10,000 this year too. That's another good thing. Now moving into the end of the school year, in June we'll have payoffs and post that, and then we'll be moving into audit season, which is a couple months of preparation. We'll be moving a lot of expenses to LTFM, capital equipment. I have some shifting to do in special ed. Just shifting where people are coded or where they have been coded. We did get some additional revenue from the state this year, but I just have to finalize which employees were coded there and make sure that we basically spend all the money that we get in each category. And then we had additional revenue for the library aid and then for our nurse too. Any questions on the budget revision?
So the state, or the county money you said was going to be a little bit higher, a little bit better than, when I say better, we're still talking the same basic balancing component, which would suggest that the state.
Less from the state, more from the county.
Right, so we're still balancing.
Yes.
So sort of an outlier question, but we always anticipate a little con money, during the course of the season, correct?
Well,
Yeah.
this was kind of, I was gonna bring this up too, on a different point. The school gets a specific amount of con money. This county doesn't give it to us. It's ours. And then the county's just a pass-through. Is that correct?
Correct, that is actually separate.
But does
Yes.
it get reflected in what, here we are back to the balancing component, con money goes up, does the state aid go down? I mean, is that reflected?
I don't
or is
believe
it-
the con affects our state
No.
aid at all, that's
It's
separate.
It's a true increase in our
Yes.
revenue at that point.
Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
yep, we budget for that separate.
I guess there was one other point since we brought up that point, and the one that got me thinking about it. You said the county is going to pay us or whatever. In actuality, they're just a pass-through, like the county's not paying for the school, they're just the ones collecting the taxes that the school levied, and they're a pass-through, just for clarification.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yep, so now everyone's paying their taxes right now,
Yeah.
or did, so now they're gonna be shifting all the money to us in May and June.
Right, so it should be better termed as the county level funding that we get is, like you said, it was always something that we levy or that we assess.
Yeah. And the county's just a collection method.
Yeah.
Okay, and then business office update. Student activity reports are attached. The class of 2024 is working on spending down their balance, and we'll have that finalized by the end of June. The 2024-2025 budget will be presented at the June 24th school board meeting. Jeff and I did work on getting another insurance quote for property, liability, basically the whole umbrella for the entire school, from North Risk. So we currently go through Valor. We completed like a renewal process with them to get some different quotes. They haven't provided us our new rates yet for effective July 1st, 2024, but we did go through all the work of getting a quote from another company. Valor's been great to work with. It's just being proactive and making sure that we're getting the best bang for our buck too. Insurance costs just continue to go up, but just making sure that we're doing our research and comparing and just using our taxpayers' money the best we can. So that was completed and submitted today. So hopefully we get information in the next couple weeks, but we should ask for board approval on one of them at the next month's board meeting in June. We have open enrollment ongoing for staff for health insurance and benefits. I've been just reminding staff to complete the process. Then that will close shortly, and we'll get all that benefit information finalized for all the employees, and they'll be signed up, and then they'll be entered into payroll. So. Any questions?
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you.
and this is the milk bid that you're gonna need here at the end of the board meeting. So we just received one.
Yeah.
And that brings up Sam. Activities.
Why don't we pass that down to, well, I guess I should put the envelope with that.
We are plugging along through spring. It is a wild season, but weather permitting, things are happening. Looking forward to summer. We have really good enrollment for our summer ball program, which includes T-ball through our kind of 15U baseball and softball. We will have 2 softball teams this summer. We've had low numbers over the course of the last couple of years, which is quite exciting. So an 11U and a 14U team. So good things on that. I'm getting help from TJ Frericks, who's helping me coordinate the summer ball stuff. He's got some kind of back-end benefits in terms of helping his own baseball program by doing that. So I am appreciative of the help and gets him kind of connected with the younger ages in that. The most specific thing I've got for you tonight is one of the add backs from the whole shifting of my position is an assistant AD job. It's functions a little bit like a coaching position in that it'll happen outside of school hours and will include things like coordinating youth basketball, coordinating summer ball, helping with game worker assignments, things like junior high refs, ticket takers, clock workers, all of that stuff. We'll include some game supervision as well, so that person will be supervising some of the games, especially in the winter, as well as then some of the kind of admin type stuff that I manage based on those programs. So will be a huge help to me, especially given my role will be a little bit more school day focused. I have the benefit right now of a lot of my stuff is in the evening, so I work a like 9 to 6 day, which is really great. Many thanks to the flexibility on that. Given that my Dean of Students / guidance coordinator role will include more school day stuff, I'm adding hours on the early end with the assumption that still overseeing the kind of the evening stuff. This will help alleviate some of that evening work. So the current, Jeff and I worked out that the proposed cost will be like a $4,000 stipend over the course of the year, plus whatever that person makes in terms of game work, things like supervising, or if they do a clock, or if they do things like that, which is true for, like when Mary and I supervise, we get paid in addition to that for that time. So yeah, I'm putting this in front of you as Jeff and I have talked about it. It's been included in the budget add backs over the course of these discussions, hoping that probably by the June meeting we will have a formal job description for you to approve as well as a candidate to propose. So I'll go through the process of advertising and then doing interviews and things like that. So, any questions about that at all?
I just have,
Yeah, please.
so $4,000 a year, and when I read it, I was like, oh wow, new position. So maybe just something with the wording, because I think it was off-putting to me because we've been doing so many budget cuts and cut pairs
Sure.
of teachers, and if there's another term, and I'm not trying to nitpick, but
That's why we're calling it add backs.
yeah.
So, and when we presented on the budget reductions, the Dean of Student, AD, and Community Ed Director, estimated savings was at $50,000 originally, but then I said, we can't just eliminate all that and just,
Right.
the duty still, so the add backs is, for that one is $8,500. So the actual budget reduction is $41,500.
Yeah. No.
And I'm working on that, so you'll see for all the different positions, when we eliminate a position,
Yeah.
and we say, well, we have to reassign some of these duties, how are we gonna fairly compensate people?
Yeah.
You just can't just dump it on people. I mean, there's gotta be kind of a balance, so
Yeah.
before you approve that position in June, you'll have the whole list of what the add backs are.
Okay.
And you're saying also like it's a new position in front of the community? Is that what you're
Kind
saying?
of, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think
I don't know what I would call it.
Right.
No help there, but I just,
Yeah.
when I read it, I was like, oh.
And I think that's, for those watching and listening, I think it is important to understand the explanation that Jeff just gave.
Yeah.
Like to,
So, yeah.
and that's why I give you a little bit of an outline about my hours.
And it's more of a coaching, similar to a
Right.
coaching role, which
It's
is
not an hourly
it's
wage.
very not temporary, but
And it's a
yes.
full year position. So if you think about the number of hours that $4,000 breaks down to over the course of July 1 to June 30.
community service.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
Well, we could call it additional duties funding or something like
Sure.
that. How does that sound?
Maybe something.
It's just that support, you can't take on all
Right.
duties
And
in
I
those
agree,
positions,
100%,
so it's
yeah.
just more of a supportive.
I think it's just like absorbing the buildings and grounds supervisor position. You just can't eliminate that position.
Right.
Without doing something with the duties. You know, and we have a couple interim positions where we've added salaries and added duties to fill those gaps, because some of those gaps you can't just live without, so.
I think the other piece that isn't reflected in the specific plus or minus from the add backs is the fact that Mary's increase in position will affect her ability to do a lot of the winter and fall and winter game supervising. She is a champion. I mean, she and I really split the game supervision. Game supervising is person who shows up at 4:30 to greet the other teams, make sure the cash boxes are there, make sure everybody's in the places they need to be, and stay through when the teams leave. So that's a 4 to 9, 10, and it's good for both of us, right? I would likely be in the building anyway because I want to see those activities. I want to be present and connected to the stuff that's happening, similarly with you in terms of your students. But with a pre-K through 12 gamut, I think you're feeling like want to be a little protective of your time as well, given the additional responsibility. So the add backs are reflected both in just the savings in that position, but it is an impact to what Mary is able to accomplish over the course of a given week. So
I guess the key point for the public to know is it's a net savings to the
yes,
school.
I mean when
Like a
you say
considerable net savings.
$40,000 in terms of net savings, I think that's an important piece of that. So, and would happily, I'll say this out loud too, if somebody has questions about this stuff, I'm happy to talk through kind of the rationale on this. Those conversations are better had and talked about than the rumor mill in the background, so.
And I think that, you know, in all those handouts that we had, was it February, is that, whatever month it was, we had those meetings and we talked about reductions. I know that it was mentioned, that that would be something that would be needed.
Yeah.
But I also don't know that we knew that, if we read all that, we knew that, but the general public probably doesn't,
Right.
so it's probably.
Right.
I can see where you're saying, like, people might go, wait a minute, what is this all about, but.
When I presented on those cuts, I went right off that document, and I do remember saying that we would be having add backs as we negotiated different contracts and MOUs.
And I remember it now. I mean,
Yeah.
you saying this, I'm like, oh, yeah. You know, but we haven't talked about it now for a couple months, so.
Right,
Yeah.
and the timing is happening so that I have time this summer to get this person onboarded. And we're not jumping into September with somebody who's fresh, you know. So we've got a plan for what our responsibilities are. My hope is also that I'm hoping to be flexible enough in this that if a candidate comes forward and says, hey, I'd like to, you know, be supportive of something else in the position that takes something off my plate, that it's of interest and it's of interest to them too. So there's a little flexibility based on what the person, whoever the person is, on this stuff. So, any other questions about that or activities life in general? Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, that takes care of the working session. Worked out nicely. Anybody need a break? Otherwise, we'll segue right into the board meeting. We'll call it at 7:09 p.m. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need a motion and a second to approve the May 20th, 2024 meeting agenda.
I'll second.
By Sonstagard, second by Robita. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Do we have any board presenters? Nope. Written communications? Nope. Old business? Nope. New business? Need a motion and a second to approve the April 22, 2024 school board meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Second by Lyon.
Ellis and Lyon. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Need a motion and a second to approve the invoices, financial statements, bank reconciliation, wire transfers, and purchase card statement.
I'll make that motion. Trask.
Motion by Trask,
I'll second that.
second by Ellis. Any discussion on that? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Need approval of personnel resignations, retirements, and appointments. Need a motion and a second to approve the resignations and appointments as presented. Resignations: Gail Friesen, bus driver. Appointments: Amanda Reardon, special education teacher. And the other ones are separate ones, so just those two items.
I'd make the motion.
Motion by Lyon,
I'll second.
second by Sonstegard. Any discussions?
Quite a long-term employee, Gail Friesen is.
Yeah, on and off. They were here many years ago, and I'm trying to think when they came back to the community, and then she left for a little bit and back for a little bit. And
I think we're talking in the magnitude of 35-some years.
I would, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's impressive.
I think she was my bus driver for a time when I was in school.
A lot of years of service.
Thank you, Gail Friesen. And welcome, Amanda Reardon. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Non-renewals, I need a motion and a second to approve the resolution 2023/2024-37 for the non-renewal of Kirby Morgan probationary teacher. It's a roll call vote. Trask.
Aye.
Do we need a motion?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
You need to finish that. Sorry, I went right in. So,
I'll motion.
Rosita, thank you everyone for keeping me straight. Need a second.
I'll second it.
Second by Trask. Any discussion?
I got a question should I be abstaining on this? On the Kirby Morgan side of things? Just because my daughter's assuming some of his duties.
Well, it's not gonna hurt if he does.
I didn't think it was a conflict of interest, but you can abstain if you're worried about it.
I'm gonna do that
Yep.
just to let you know.
Now we'll have the roll call vote. Trask.
Aye.
Johnson, aye. Ellis.
Aye.
Revita.
Aye.
Sonstegard.
Aye.
Lyon.
Lyon abstains.
Motion carries. I need a motion and a second to approve the non-renewal of Chris
Bethune?
paraprofessional, and Kelsey Armstrong, paraprofessional. That was the motion and the second.
I'll motion.
Motion by
Second by Lyon.
Sonstegard. Second by Lyon. Any discussion? Go for a roll call vote again. Ellis,
Aye.
Revita,
Aye.
Sonstegard,
Aye.
Lyon,
Aye.
Johnson, aye. Trask,
Aye.
motion carries. Need a motion and a second to approve resolution 2023/2024-34, accepting a donation of $258.75 from the Wabonica Lutheran Church for the Backpack Program.
I'll motion.
Motion by Revita,
Second by Lyon.
second by Lyon.
May I comment?
Now we're into discussion.
Okay. The roll call vote is for the next item down. Unless someone else corrected my sheet, I haven't.
Oh.
for item number E, so.
Okay.
But we can
We
do a
need
roll
to have
call
one
vote
as
on
well
any-
on that one.
I corrected it because it was under
Oh,
D.
good. Someone did her job for me. Thank you. I printed mine off earlier today before my proofreader fixed it, so ignore my,
Thank you, Jill, for keeping me straight.
But do you have to do a roll call then for E? Is that where it should have been?
the employee one has to be the roll call vote.
Okay, okay.
So we have to do one
So
for
it'd be item-
E as well. Or roll.
Item E should be a roll call vote
Okay.
for the ULA.
We'll do that there. Any other discussion about backpack program donation? Other than thank you, Wabaunica Lutheran Church. In that case, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I need a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2023/24-35, placing a continuing contract / tenured employee, Dina Stenberg, on unrequested leave of absence. Motion and a second.
I'll make a motion.
Second by Lyon.
Motion by Sonstgaard, second by Lyon. Any discussion?
Does that take effect immediately or just at the,
At the end of the contract year.
in July 1st?
It would be last day of services, the 28th of May.
Okay.
And the callback is for 5 years.
Okay.
Any further discussion? We'll go for a roll call vote. Ellis,
Aye.
Rabita,
Aye.
Sonstgaard,
Aye.
Lyon,
Aye.
Johnson, aye. Trask.
Aye.
Motion carries. I need a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2023/2024-36, accepting a donation of $220 from the Wabaunica Lutheran Church for the backpack program.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ellis,
I'll second.
second by Rabita. Any discussion? Once again, thank you, Wabaunica Lutheran Church. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Need a motion and second to authorize the superintendent to submit all required information to the Commissioner of Education to request review and comment for a proposed capital expenditures that would be funded through a combination of a capital project levy and school building bond.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Sonstgaard,
Second by Lyon.
second by Lyon. Any discussion?
Again, the time frame on that is you're gonna get that in the next week or so?
Tomorrow,
Okay. And then,
and then the deadline's June 23rd, I believe, or something like that.
I mean, you submit it, they send it back to say corrections or?
With Seth, we'll work on pulling the submission together.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Need a motion and a second to approve the 2023/2024 school nurse contract.
I'll motion.
Is
Motion by
that the right
Rabita.
year?
Should be for next.
Yeah, is it
Oh,
2024?
Should be
I'm sorry.
24,
I'm
25.
out of order
Or
there.
in
No,
the-
23, 25. 23, 25.
23, 25, okay.
So is there retro pay involved in that then?
There will be, yes.
So we'll just repeat it. So motion and a second to approve the 2023/2025 school nurse contract. Repeat it, you still?
Yes, I'll motion.
Okay, I'll second it. Second by Lyon.
I have some discussion. On page 13, Article 14 of the contract, it has the agreement shall remain in effect for the period of June 1, 2022 to June 30th, 2023.
Or did we miss a correction?
So maybe we should have the motion just to amend that line as well in the contract. I don't know what the dates are though. So,
What page is it on?
good catch. There. 13? 13 of the contract, 145 of the board packet.
Oh, okay, 13.
So it would be.
Under the duration, is that where they are?
Yep. First sentence.
And then,
That's what I. I don't know what the duration
so
is.
this, another question would be, on page 8, is the insurance quoted for the right year?
So
Is
the
that
duration
23 to
is June
24?
30th, or June 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2025.
Okay.
So that could be reflected in the motion to just correct that sentence in this contract as we see it. Maybe? Or should we wait till next?
Actually, it
If
should be
there's a-
July 1, 2023 to June 30th, 2025.
Yeah. That-
Is the duration.
So you go. Yep.
Where are you finding that on page 13?
Yep.
Or Article 14?
Yeah.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
Article,
Oh, kind of the last
yeah.
paragraph.
And then I believe.
And then what was your?
The insurance, I believe, is
insurance
right,
is-
because that would be the 23-24 insurance.
Yep, and then it'd be 5% increase for the next fiscal year.
Okay, yep, that would be right.
So we're in the 23-24
Yeah.
school year. So, and I will print the signature page with the updated, so you can sign the right document today.
Can I ask a question? So then on section A, where Article 13 above the duration, there's two different amounts. Should there be a year in there? It says 23-24 is this amount, and should it say
2023, 24, and 2024, 25.
Mm-hmm.
do that
Yeah.
correction?
Mm-hmm.
I think that it should read that, so
2000.
Yeah.
more sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
So the only thing we have to change are the dates, is that correct? In that
Yes.
final
Right.
paragraph.
And
13 and
under
14.
salary and duration on the last page.
Yeah.
Under Article 14.
And
No.
13.
No,
And
13. So
13.
this right here would say 2023, 24, but it would also indicate 2024, 2025 for this amount.
Oh,
So
This
this salary section A reads the health office nurse salary for 2023, 2024 is $41,200 and $42,436 for 2024, 2025. And Article 14 duration, this agreement shall remain in effect for the period of July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2025.
July 1st, 2023.
yep, to June 30th, 2025.
And the title page is going to be changed to July 1, 2023 through June 30th.
What are we changing that one to, July?
July
It
1st.
should be July 1.
Yeah.
Good catch, Corinne.
Can't get them all.
Sorry, I'm gonna ask another one. On page 2 in Article 2, maybe this is correct. Should it say 2-year commencing on July 1st, 23, ending June 30th, 25, or is it
Should be
It should be the same as that.
That's repetitive of the, yep.
Yep.
Be the same as the title page, right?
Just take out the last sentence. Next time.
Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it
One
is.
year commencing, oh,
July 1st, 2023.
Well, then your second year would have to be incorporated in the sentence, wouldn't it?
yeah, the Article 2,
Commencing on July 1st, 2023, and commencing on,
No, and ending on June 30th, 2025,
uh,
because it's a 2-year contract.
or, so is, and I guess I don't remember reading through the whole thing, so at the end of it, when it's talking about July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2025, is that a different time frame than what's talked about in Article 2?
No.
Then how come the dates don't match? I guess I'm not quite.
Well,
not
we're
real
saying
fast.
we need to make a match.
Section 1 needs to be changed.
Okay, so
I'm
what does
changing it.
Article 2 need to say?
July 1, 2023, and ending on June 30th, 2025.
Okay,
And in parentheses, the 1 should be changed to a 2.
Yep, 2, yep.
so in addition to Article 14, Article 2. Anything else?
Did you change the 2-year and then
Yep.
there's 1 in parentheses? You got
Yep.
that one?
yep.
Boyd?
Two.
I know Jeff does, but I didn't know if Boyd did.
You're running out of margin
Probably
space
not,
here.
yeah.
He's trying to incorporate them into the motion.
Right.
Yeah, it's not working out real well. You guys will have to help me through it here.
With amendments.
Yeah, with the changes.
Yeah.
Well, technically, it's just a contract, July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2025. That's what you're approving.
Right.
And the contract's been, the wording's been corrected. So I
Yeah.
don't think you need to
Make-
amend the motion. From the get-go, it's been July 1, 2023
Yeah.
through June 30th,
Just that
2025.
the corrections will be made within.
Yes.
With amended, or just with that, because that's what the contract.
That's all you're
Correct.
approving.
Yep.
But the copy that.
The intent of the contract, the intent of your motion is, and I bet if we pulled up another contract, we could read through and find more errors too. It seems like this is a non-ending thing, but I've made all the corrections in the actual red line contract in the board packet that's been discussed, so it's all
So do we have to
updated.
do anything? Other
Just-
than, right now we're in discussion,
Okay,
so we just have to.
what
vote.
is this the motion for?
It's the motion,
To approve.
the, well, it's the 2023/2020-2024 nurse contract.
2025, that's where you need to amend it. That's
what
the
it
only
says.
amendment.
You need to amend.
The only amendment to the motion is 2023-2025 contract.
So, we already have a motion by Revita, second by Lyon. Keep everything the same with the exception of 2023-2025 school nurse contract. Any more discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Need a motion and a second to approve the 2024-2025 InterQuest Detection Canines contract.
Motion by Lyon.
Motion by Lyon.
Second, Trask.
Second by Trask. Puppies in the school. Any more discussion?
This is like fewer days than even this last year, correct? Like 3, because we had like 8, then we went to 5, now we're at 3. Is that sufficient?
I think so. Exciting news for me was the last time they were here, there was nothing.
Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Need a motion and a second to award the milk bid for the 2024/2025 school year to our one bidding entity, Cass Clay Creamery of Fargo, North Dakota.
Is that who it's with now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that puts, it's lactose-free milk, 89.5 cents. Half pint of skim milk, 35.5. Pint of chocolate milk, 37 cents. Pint of 1%, 36.9 cents. And 1% chocolate is not available. So, need a motion and a second for that.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Ellis, second by Rubita. Cascade Creamery. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Anybody got anything else? We'll call it adjourned at 7:30 p.m.
You off there?
Did I miss one?